I'm Drew Paul Bell, and what I want to talk about today is how to stay motivated in Architecture Studio. So if you don't know by now, Architecture Studio can get pretty difficult, and motivation tends to become a problem for a lot of people when it comes to getting in the studio, not just like in the days and weeks before a project is due, but especially farther away from the deadlines. Okay, so how do you become motivated to get in the studio and get your work done so that you don't find yourself in that crunch at the end of the semester or the end of the project where you're rushing to get things done in the last second? The first tip is to know why you are there. What is it that you want to get? What is it that you want? What do you want to get out of your career? What do you want to get out of your education? This is usually something that's kind of like a broader picture life understanding. You have to know what your goals are, and you have to be clear about it. Okay, so one of your goals might be to live in a particular city. Like say, New York City is a great example for this because it's so hard to live there. The cost of living is so high. You really have to be an achiever to live in a city like that, or to break into a new city that's farther away where like your friends and family, where you don't know anybody and nobody knows you. All right, you have to be good enough to break into an environment like that. Maybe you're really inspired by the idea of working at a firm or doing the work that enables like less developed countries to get the infrastructure that they need to get clean water, or disaster relief structures. Whatever it is that really just kind of lights you on fire and excites you, find out what that is, be honest about it, and do what you want. Don't pick something because like, oh, like it would be good to do like the disaster relief stuff because like it's cool, and like if you're doing it for someone else, that's not going to get you out of your apartment and into studio when the time counts. So really take some time to understand this, and this is good advice for you just for life, is to understand what it is that you want. Get a clear vision of that, put it into words, and write it down somewhere, and remember what that is. And then when you're feeling kind of lazy at like 10 o'clock p.m. and you know that you should go in a studio, but you don't really feel like it, think about that, and that'll help you get up, get in the studio, and get some work done. So the next piece of advice is to enjoy the process. Okay, it's easy to fall into the trap of being stressed out and nervous because of all the pressure, but don't forget that like this is actually fun. All right, like design should be fun. It should be like eating cotton candy, not like getting your teeth pulled. So it's more about like remember what it's like to do this. Okay, like when you're sitting there coming up with having to solve a challenge creatively is actually pretty fun. And think about, to keep perspective, think about the people who are like majoring in business or engineering, and they spend all their time just answering problems in a book or studying for tests and writing essays, and that's it. Like that's not really as fun to me as like doing drawings and all that stuff, as daunting as it is, right? And it can be stressful, but don't let your emotions mislead you. It is a lot of fun, and it's really cool. A lot of people actually even look up to architects. I mean, people think it's pretty exciting. I can't tell you how many times I've told somebody I work in an architecture firm, or I was majoring in architecture, and they told me, oh, that's really cool, or that they would have majored in architecture, right? They say like, oh, I've heard this a bunch of times. People are like, oh, like if I could do it all over again, I think I'd become an architect. Let's, appreciate what you have, and don't feel all down just because that you have stress about it. So the next piece of advice is to make your project exciting. Okay, like one reason why people don't want to go in a studio a lot of the times, it comes down to just the emotions behind it. They're freaked out about the stress. Could be that. It could also be that they don't really like their project, or that they don't know what they're doing. All right, so now they're avoiding the negative emotions associated with being lost and not being sure what to do, or having gotten your project to a point where you don't like it anymore and it doesn't excite you to come into studio. So you really got to be self-introspective or self-aware at this point, and if that's the case, admit it to yourself. Realize that that's the problem, and then go into studio with the intention of making it exciting for you again. Or just decide to do something. Like if you're not sure what to do, just kind of do whatever. start the ball rolling, and then once you start doing things, you're gonna react to that, come up with something better to do. So make it exciting, because that's gonna help you overcome those the stress of not liking your project and the lack of motivation that comes from not wanting to come to the studio when that's the situation. So those are my tips. I hope this helps. I want to know what's like the one thing that motivates you? What's your clear vision that what you want out of life? Is it to go live in that awesome country over, you know, some other place? Is it to build affordable housing for people in need? Put this into words and put it down below. One, I'm interested in hearing. Two, by doing that, by typing it out and committing to it, that helps enforce it in your own mind and help you become more clear about what it is. So then in that time when you're not being motivated, when you're not feeling really motivated, it will be easier for you to recall, and then more likely for you to actually act on, you know, what you have to do to get to that dream. So type that up right in the comments down below. I want to hear it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, or share this video. I'd really appreciate it if you enjoyed it. And don't be afraid to reach out to me and connect on any of the social media platforms that I'm on. Check me out with @DrewPaulBell. So I hope this helps, and I will talk to you next time. I'm Drew Paul Bell, and what I want to talk about today is motivation and... I'm Drew Paul Bell.